Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/bonfiresidechat. Over 100,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
Some of our landings were desperate adventures. We are now prepared to meet the inevitable counterattacks with power and with confidence.
Welcome to Appendix number 3 for Bonfireside Chat, which is where we read your responses to the area that we talked about in the episode that precedes this. In this case, it is going to be the Undead Parish and the Lower Burg. This is our user interaction. And we're going to introduce kind of a new segment here because we make mistakes. Everybody does. It's a proven fact. And we're going to be talking about our errata, as it were. I am joined here by Gary, as usual. Say hi, Gary.
Hi. Hello.
Sorry.
I was going to make the dumb hi, Gary joke and then thought better of it, but not quite soon enough. so thus that awkward delivery.
That's fine. And then sticking around quite graciously is introduce yourself.
Oh, Tyler, I'm still here. Hey. You might remember me from such podcasts as last week's.
Yeah. You might remember me from such weeks as last week. And every week preceding that until I was born. So.
And then
what a week it was. I was the week host.
Yeah. So why don't we dive into how we were wrong?
Yeah, so these are just corrections that came in all through the not all through the Something Awful board, but primarily through that. So first off, Coyote, but with a 7 for a T, he says, noticed early in that Kole was talking about dealing with the 3 firebomb dudes and the axe plus sword guys near the bonfire, but apparently none of you ever found out that after the first time you get into the room, but never for the first time in a playthrough, you can take one step onto the little bridge, then roll backstep once, and let the firebombs come down. The shielded sword warrior will then walk through the room over the bridge to you, making it much simpler to sprint over the bridge and take out the 2 axe guys with little risk. Also, Havel's ring is 50% extra equip load, not 50 pounds.
That second one is a legit response, and when I was listening to it, I was kind of like, oh, we messed that up. That first one, it's kind of like talking about the hidden stats in Pokemon.
Or just like your way of handling the game.
Yeah.
You know, like there's multiple ways to approach it. Like I shot those bomb dudes with arrows. Like there's lots of different ways you can do that. But you're definitely right about the Havel's ring thing. And I feel like even as I was saying it, I knew that might not be right, but I was trying to fake it till I make it.
That's all we can do in this biz.
Yeah. The podcasting biz. We're all sitting around a boardroom table with like glasses of scotch with ice, just like podcasting and bemoaning what it's like to be an old white guy podcasting.
Oh, man.
Is there any other kind?
We certainly have it the worst out of any people group.
People group.
People who have access to the internet and the obligation to get nice mics and record their voice and presume that everyone would want to hear them.
Where's our parade?
Zombies Downfall from Something Awful says,
This is Vivian, who's going to be on the show.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
This is her first time on the show, in a way.
Sweet.
Well, this isn't. I'm still here. Thanks, guys. No, yeah, still here.
What?
No, it's cool. Go ahead. Nah, Vivian, I'm sure you'll do great.
Oh, man, I feel so chastised.
Something's making a noise on your end, Kole. I can't quite make it out, but just ignore it.
No, that was still me. I
thought that you were like bringing my attention to some kind of audio problem, which I was going to rush to fix.
A certain problem.
Yeah, I'm just that funny.
Skylar Crumrine.
So they called me in high school. Oh, it was a horror.
You just hear the
Couldn't get away from it. I played football for some reason for 6 years, and there was this very dumb linebacker who the best he could come up with was like, "Hey, breadcrumb, you like being called breadcrumb?" Like, I mean, no, I
don't mind it that much though. It's kind of cute. Like it's like I'm a gerbil, or like it's like you're naming your guinea pig.
Can we continue this sports ball exercise?
When I was in high school, during gym class, there would be days where we would just walk the track because gym class is a weird outmoded concept. And I would read while walking the track, and all the guys in gym class used to go, "Hey, book boy." Like as if I like literally grew up in like the town from Deliverance instead of just figuratively. Like they didn't tie me up and make me squeal like anything after that, but it was definitely spoke more of them than it did of me and my book boyness.
That reminds me of one of my favorite college stories. One of my friends was moving out at the end of a semester to head home for a break, and he had a very bright, like vintage red suitcase. And he was walking out of the building, and somebody yelled from the third-story window, and he never saw them. "Hey, guy with the suitcase! Nice suitcase!" And he was just like, "Thanks."
This won't entirely devolve into people yelling things podcast, but that reminds me of when I was in high school and I was walking by this yard. And when you're young and a boy and you just have this urge to destroy things that are pretty for no reason.
All of us know that except for Vivian.
Yeah, absolutely. Me and my one of my friends, like we tore a branch off a tree as we were walking by just because we were dumb little idiots. And some lady came out and she was real angry and flustered, but obviously couldn't tell what to say. And she, as we were walking away, she yelled, "Hey, thanks for the damage." Oh, geez. Workshop that a little bit. Maybe, we were idiots. Like, it was stupid of us to do it, but not a very good comeback.
I had an entirely unremarkable childhood. My name is bland enough that there were no nicknames associated with it. I didn't have very many friends, but very few enemies.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a good nickname for you.
I mean, you can assault my character all you want, but there's no there's no readily apparent play on words.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm going through the alphabet in my head. I'm not coming up with
I was too. And all of them are cool, like Boss and Sauce.
So you take that cookie, more like stole Ross. So people were telling us we were wrong, right?
Yes.
Well, technically, you guys were wrong.
Well,
you didn't do
an
it
episode
wrong.
I wasn't on. So
Yeah.
This is a wonderful arrangement where the person who is on here will never have to hear the slings and arrows of the correct masses unless they want to. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Vivian, Zombies Downfall in essay, says, while the flavor text says that raising your liquid humanity might empower chaos pyromancy, and it may even be intended to, since chaos pyromancy takes a lot of attunement for minimum of uses, it actually doesn't. Chaos weapons, though, including K-Log's Fury, absolutely and noticeably scale. That part's right on and makes the pyromancy thing even stranger.
Oh man, she is really going to be so much a better guest than I am.
she does know more about this game than we do.
Yeah.
So good point. I did not realize that. The game does tell you that it does it, in my defense.
That's why this the tiny being's errata, dude.
Yep, exactly. Yep, the game tells you one thing. Osmosis, he says, this is the point where everyone is just notably correcting us. Here's some corrections and additions.
Yeah, there's a lot of numbers in this one. I mean, it's mostly the same number, but
Liquid Humanity does not increase item drop rate above 10. The most significant boost in drop rate is from 0 to 1, which increases it by 50%. Liquid Humanity also boosts your regular defenses, resistances, by an amount equal to what 1 point in Vitality or Attunement would get you. Besides this, it greatly increases curse resistance. You can get up to 10 Liquid Humanity per area from regular enemies besides souls, but only as long as the boss for the area is alive. So to unpack that a little bit. So I think I mentioned the curse resistance. Wasn't wrong about that. When he's talking about the 10 Liquid Humanity you can get from regular enemies, I didn't know this, but it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Every once in a while when you kill an enemy, you'll randomly get humanity for it. And he's telling us that the limit is 10, but once you kill the boss for that area, you can no longer farm for humanity there.
Right.
So neat.
I had no idea about that.
Yeah, I was wondering about the random humanity, but that's a cool thing.
Yeah.
Thanks, Osmosis Jones.
And then Mega Man's Jockstrap says, one of the guests remarked that increasing strength increased the speed of weapon swings. This is not correct.
My shameful confession is I knew that at the time, but I didn't want to correct our guest. Like I just didn't want to be it's dexterity that can do that with casting speed, but it's barely noticeable.
I'm still just laughing at the idea of an animated Mega Man crotch-esque saying that. Just kidding. That's wonderful.
Well, Mega Man's Dwarf Swap. You've got to correct Gary and Crow.
Man, that is a deep cut. Wow.
Yeah.
There's some great usernames on Something Awful. Mine's pretty boring. It's Pious Pete, by the way. Nothing connected to Tyler or Crumrine.
Mine's boring as well.
All right. This final one, as far as corrections, is from Sean. He says, regarding fog gates, they really do have a consistent flavor and mechanical purpose. They're separation barriers to keep you from moving between specific areas without intention. The majority of them keep you from bosses or other notable transitions, and they're used to define the outside boundaries of an area. 1, to prevent you from accidentally wandering across a boundary zone. 2, to keep PvP focused on specific areas, demarcated by fog gates. And 3, to allow boss fights and other events to script properly without you triggering it wrong. As for the flavor, and it's a bit of a muddled mess, but there is a purpose behind them. However, the specifics are a hot topic for debate, so I'll just leave it at the fact that they consistently mean something in narrative terms. Just good luck getting more than 2 or 3 people to agree on what. So, yeah, I mean, I think you're right as far as it being intentional, right? So, like, it's just to mean, if you're going to go into this area, you're not going to accidentally do it. Or there are these new threats. I'll buy that.
Yeah. Just press a button to proceed.
Yep. As far as the lore stuff, I'd be curious as to what some of those things are. If anybody listening to this has theories or has a pet theory, like write us in.
Yeah.
Because I don't know anything about that. I haven't heard anything about that.
We eat that kind of speculation up. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are they always just chilling behind the fog gate? Like, they don't spawn when you go through it. They're already there. Because you were talking about, just in the episode, about flinging the dung piles over into the area. Is there anything else that you can, like, trick a fog gate with like that? Or am I completely incorrect about something?
There's something I have to try, and it's a boss in the DLC that someone told me you can see him before you go to him, and I wonder if you can kill him with arrows before you get through.
You can.
You can?
Yep.
That's interesting. And probably like 1,000 times easier than that fucking boss fight.
Yep.
Because that's one of the hardest in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. But just what really bugs me about those fog gates, and we talked about it in the episode, but just the ones that are just peppered throughout, like even in the parish, before you get to the area with the Baldur Knights, there's just one right there.
Right. If they're supposed to be demarcating PvP zones or anything like that, and it's intentional, I think that, we brought this up in the last episode, but like, why do they disappear? Maybe make it so you don't have to press A to go through them again, but maybe just make them intangible at that point. So they're still PvP zones that you can clearly see, but you don't have to just remember, like, where exactly was this fog gate? Do you want to read one, Tyler?
Yeah. We're on to responses, right?
Yeah. So this is people sharing their memories about the areas that we talked about in the episode.
This is Vivian via contact, according to the notes. And she says, the Capra Demon is no great friend of mine, and I think the battle with him is one of only 2 actually lousy battles in the game. But I figured you'd be deluged with Capra comments, trademarked. Good form. Oh, if this is the same Vivian, you're blowing me out of the water.
She's great. She's a great writer. Like in the last Watch Out for Fireballs, was it? It wasn't for the music one. Oh, Yoshi's Island. Like, she knocked out of the park for that one, too.
Yeah, for real.
So
all I do is send pictures that say, fuck the police. So instead, I'll say a few words about something in the parish that may get less attention from either you or the listeners. The parish is where we meet Lorek of Karim, one of my favorite characters in the game. His introduction is unique because every prior character is kind of clearly harmless. Oscar's dying, Petrus the priest looks like Humpty Dumpty. Solaire immediately extends an offer of jolly cooperation. And Andre, helpful blacksmith, may as well be a part of the scenery. Lorek's different. He's polite enough, but he seems suspicious. He's in a secret cell, but you don't ever find out why, and he offers no explanation. The key that opens the way to him is called the Mystery Key. His armor is ornate and regal, but tarnished. The faceplate of his helm has deep gouges, and it almost looks like it's covered in flecks of blood or grime. Or my suspicion had more to do with whatever stranger left an unexplained liar ahead message on the floor at the entrance to the passage. The consequences of this choice and the outcome of Lorek's story are for a later episode. Nope! Unless we edit out our discussion of it. But my first meeting with him left a lasting impression. It felt like the game was confronting me with a real quandary for the first time, asking me if I trusted someone. It taught a valuable lesson. Perhaps not everyone in this strange world is who and what they seem. It made me look back on my previous interactions and wonder why I hadn't questioned them. It was a great lesson and a necessary one for anyone who wants to tease out the game's secrets. I definitely agree. There is some vibes with that dude, that effing laugh, but it is really neat, and it definitely made me more wary of the NPCs in general, as far as who I do and don't trust.
It's a question we didn't ask in the episode itself, but it remains: who locked him there and why? Well, obviously why, but you find that key far flung off, right?
Yeah. Do you want to hear? This is a totally wild piece of speculation that I'm just tearing out of my ass.
Do it, man.
For no goodness.
That's what we're here
Gary's
for.
gone wild.
So this is some lore stuff that you haven't encountered yet, right? So we know that Seath is interested in the parish, and we know he's interested in it at least partly, and we know he's collecting maidens. Mm-hmm. And later he collects one specifically from there, right?
Yeah.
So what if Lautrec was locked up there because he killed the Firekeeper? And that's why that soul is there, who Seath had designs on or was going to use for his experiments.
Yeah, no, I dig it.
Just rubbing things together that are all in the same place.
I'm picking up what you're putting down, dude.
Yeah, I mean, there's no evidence of that, but it might make sense.
Yeah. I have heard worse. Much worse.
Well, thank you. There's that wily channeler.
Yep.
But well written and thought out as always.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Gary, why don't you read Sal's comment?
All right. Sal says, "To me, the Undead Parish was the true beginning of the game. The large room with the rhino and many spear zombie knights is the game's first true test, is a microcosm of the entire experience. The first time there, you kind of just stroll in casually and get demolished from all sides by multiple knights and the stampeding shiny beast. It took me at least 8 deaths to get through that room, but what was great about it was learning a lesson each time. Slowly but surely, I crept upstairs, killing the zombie knights methodically after aggroing one at a time. Then I took out that rhino using firebombs from the bridge above, and the room was finally cleared. The level of thought I put into a single room in Dark Souls was more thought than I put into any other action game in its entirety. The funniest part is, once the room was cleared, it became insanely easy to repeat. I can do that room in my sleep. That's what separates Dark Souls from every other game. Every death is a lesson, and the rewards for thinking ahead and playing carefully are much more satisfying than Souls or any armor set can be. Conquering that room led to the moment I knew I was playing something truly special and unique. Here's to Dark Souls. GOAT. Greatest of all time."
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
I thought he was referring to the Capra Demon.
Yeah, here's the
Dark Souls GOAT.
That was that in the early draft. If you get that art book, he used to be called the Dark Souls GOAT. I'm just like, don't mind me. I just want to eat garbage.
He has very sturdy footing on mountains.
Well,
yes.
He is right on the other end of a little bridge, so...
And he will eat whatever shit you throw into his cage, so... but yeah, again, well thought out and well written.
Yes, thank you very much, Sal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hugh, who wrote in via the contact page... Hugh.
Oh, you mean me?
It has to be...
Just a little dad joke for you.
It has to be your bowl. Yes. No. So, dad jokes aside, Hugh says, we're going to edit this just a little bit. I just started playing Dark Souls again because of Bonfireside Chat, which I heard of due to Jick/Zach and Kingdom of Loathing. It says, regarding the parish, Solaire is pretty easy to miss. He doesn't stand out well on that balcony. The boar seems to mostly depend on if you think you should fight fair. Though I've seen and heard too much about it to be unbiased. The skulls are a bit unclear and hard to aim, but certainly useful. The balders you start to meet, especially the early one with a rapier/estoc, are a real step up in gameplay, I think. But great fun, if you don't get stuck or mobbed. After getting to the main hall of the church, I wasn't sure if the ominous figure was friend or foe. Then, whilst checking out a bloodstain, a blue bolt of fire flew straight down at me. What's up? Yeah.
You.
I wasn't sure if it was some kind of don't be hollow in the holy ground effect. That's interesting.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Huh. So I backed off and dithered until I went in and saw the sorcerer. I could get a lock on him, but luckily he jumped down to continue the fight. I end this rambling with a final question. As a bandit, I am still in my starting gear, which seems reasonably balanced between protection and weight, except for one thing. I have 0 poise. How bad a plan is this?
So
Good.
depends. Like you can do a no poise thing, and you can get a ring that will add a decent amount of poise fairly early in the game.
Yeah.
But I think it's harder to do kind of a dex dodgy playthrough on the first playthrough.
Yeah.
Personally,
for those of you not in the know, poise is the stat that determines whether or not your attacks can be interrupted by enemy attacks.
yeah. So I probably wouldn't. I mean, the battle axe you start with is great.
Yeah.
Like if you like the move set, stick with it because it'll serve you well through the whole game. But the armor, it's probably there are probably better light armors to use. Yeah. And then, but I mean, the real answer is anything you think that looks cool. Like if you're willing to put the time in developing the skills to dodge, like you can do it with 0 poise.
Yeah.
Like I just did my first 0 poise beating the game fairly recently, and it's definitely possible.
Yeah. So that notion of like the environment itself punishing you for walking into and there being hollow, I like that a lot.
I'm surprised it didn't happen in the game. Like they never like humanity and hollowness only plays into the multiplayer. Like it never. There are no environmental hazards based on it or anything like that.
That'd be pretty frustrating, though, if you didn't know that that's what was causing it. It was just kind of like, okay, so I just die instantly every time I walk in here.
It'd be like Captain Novlin.
The
first level of Captain Novlin.
Are there characters that talk to you differently depending on if you're hollow or not?
Yep.
Okay, because that was the only thing that I started to notice when I was chatting with folks and things like that. I was like, oh, maybe this will play in later on, but I don't want to risk being human all the time.
Yeah.
So, someone might like scream and correct me about this, but I think it has no mechanical changes. I don't think there's anybody who will only do something if you talk to them if you're human, but they do have a little flavor commentary.
Yeah.
Based on it.
The crestfallen warrior, if you walk up to him when you're hollow, he has a nice little bit saying, "Oh, look at your face! You're very nearly hollow." But then again, being hollow would solve a lot of problems, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the same thing with Petrus and when you first run into Petrus.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Do you want to read David Ritchie's, Tyler?
Yeah. On my very first playthrough, I had watched a little bit of Geops LP before I got the game. So the Capper Demon I actually beat on my first attempt.
Wow.
The Gargoyles, though, I used all 3 of the Lightning Pine resins on the Balder Swag Sword. Nice. On my first 3 attempts. After using the last one and dying, I thought to myself, this is absolutely ridiculous, and nearly gave up. Here I am now, 3 playthroughs later, where I can kill the Gargoyles in about 30 seconds. Way to go, man.
Boom.
Yeah. I don't know that Let's Play. There's a lot of the Let's Plays of this game I've watched, but I don't know Geop.
Yeah. It's
GEOP for the listeners.
Yes, if you would like to look for that on the tubes. I kind of hate this guy for having the Balder side sword this early.
I find him too, but I never find him when I'm doing a Dex build.
Yeah.
So I've gotten a couple of Balder side swords in my career.
That's kind of like the Titanite catch pole or the Channeler's
Trident.
Yeah, words, guys.
That Andre of Astora has 2 Balder side swords just leaning against his wall.
Yep.
As part of the background, which sucks.
I trust me, I know.
Yeah.
I want that sword so bad. I've literally never gotten one.
Yeah. It's a good sword, but any
Yeah.
dex heavy sword will do you just fine.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, and that lightning pine resin, like it's good on you for using that. Like I always have like kind of too good to use syndrome with that.
Yeah.
Like I use it on the first boss because I'm doing almost no damage, and I use it on the gaping dragon because the gaping dragon has about like twice as many hit points as it should.
Yeah.
So
I get into that trap with souls or humanity too now. Now that I know what it actually does, I'm like, well, I could go human and let people summon me into their game so that I can farm some extra souls and be a good human being and stuff like that. Or maybe I should hoard these for the next time I have a boss that is impossible without co-op.
Yeah.
Yep. And later when you get a little bit more confident in the game and you know where all the secrets are, like I always end up with like 20 or 30 humanities just sitting around, like, and I summon people for help and everything like that. So it's like you'll find them eventually. It's just kind of one of those things where the first playthrough, you don't know where they're all at and you're maybe using them a little willy-nilly, but on some sequent playthroughs, it's not really a limited resource. So Randall Thiel says, the Undead Parish was a real turning point for me in Dark Souls. From the Tower Knight on, it seemed like every corner in the parish had a new configuration of enemies I had no preparation for. It seemed like the game just wanted to get rid of me when I poked the gargoyles down to half health with my puny spear, and a new one flew down and toasted me. I read online that I could summon Solera and Lautrec, but when I revived a human form, a guy in Havel's armor invaded and ganked me before I got to the church entrance. That would have been the end of my Dark Souls experience if I hadn't read a tip in the Something Awful thread that I could take an alternate route to another area to get a really, really great ring and a set of armor. I don't think it was just the items that gave me a chance, though. That changed my outlook on Dark Souls. From that point, if I ran into a brick wall of difficulty, I backtracked and tried a different route or a different area. Even if I couldn't get too far into places like the Graveyard or the Valley of the Drakes, I could still poke around the entrance and get new items and more soul levels.
Yeah.
Exactly what you should do.
Suicide runs. Nothing to lose, everything to gain.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it is pretty satisfying when you get an item. They're like, I'm kind of sequence breaking here.
Totally. Like
I'm cool.
Yeah.
I'm a cool video game guy.
Is there any other kind?
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Am I right, video game fans?
Yeah. How about it, all the girls who want to date me? No, sorry, I can't talk on my telephone right now doing a podcast.
About Dark Souls. Sit down and let me explain it to you. It's going to take a long time. It's going to be real interesting for you. Listen, it all started with King's Field. You know what King is, right, baby?
Don't bother with the door. It's locked. Sam Anderson via Facebook says, in what would turn out to be an unfortunate theme for my playthrough, I eventually managed to slash my way through the entire parish up till that courtyard outside the church. I glanced down a strange wooded path, looked at my empty Estus flask, and decided to play it safe and go all the way back to the bonfire beneath the Drake's Bridge to level up. That path, of course, was to the next bonfire. Playing again with Games for Windows Live activated and seeing the plethora of orange signs has been a revelation for how much easier that would have made it.
Yeah, the orange signs are crazy important.
Yeah.
Like, they're necessary.
Yeah,
Like,
otherwise
play online.
Otherwise, you're going to have a wooden bridge fall out right behind you. Under you. Somewhere near
and
you.
You never would have known.
Hey, I made it. I was pretty satisfied with myself until I found out that it was a completely pointless task that I had succeeded at.
I'm so sorry that we crushed your world. It would have been so much better if you just would have continued thinking that was a thing.
No,
yeah,
it's
we would have
fine.
sent out like a private RSS feed where it's like, everybody, don't tell everyone in the world, don't tell Tyler.
He'll be crushed.
No, the tone of the podcast matches the tone of the game. It's just completely self-esteem crushing.
Yeah. Take that. Be wary of liars. Watch out for liar balls. Is it me?
Yep. No, it's Tyler. It's
okay.
Tyler.
No, it's you. I think it's Cole, right?
I just did
No,
it.
Cole just did one.
What the F? Hey,
All right.
whatever.
You're up, Tyler.
Ah, sorry, folks at home. You're probably getting furious right now. All right, this one's from Dustin Stetler. Thank you, Dustin, who says, my jaw struck the floor harder than Havel's erection when he first took me by surprise. Hey-o!
Wankety, wankety.
While realizing how intricately linked Upper to Lower Burg is. It's deceiving how the dangerous heights, gaps, and blurred backdrops make Dark Souls appear very linear. In fact, the entire game reminded me of my first playthrough of the Resident Evil 2 police station. All of those locked offices and hallways woven into perfection. It's just too bad that tougher enemies don't appear in the Burg later on the way that the Hunters revamped the Resident Evil mansion. I'm talking about just before you move on to New Game Plus. But I guess that would take away from the static chessboard layouts of the game. Oh, chessboard layout. That's a cool way of thinking of it. Yeah. Which I noticed in Demon's Souls. That was the first type of game to do that, and it was a love-hate thing amongst my friends. Some liked the trial and error approach, and some thought it was boring because the enemies acted the same way every time. What do you guys think? Yeah, he doesn't have that voice.
You're inferring. Yeah. Yeah. I like the idea of that, but you're right. It would kind of take away from the predictability of the game. I you kind of look at the bridge story from the main episode. I like thinking of creative ways that the game could be more of a dick slap, but I don't know. Great in concept. I don't know if it could be executed well.
Yeah, it would be a different game.
Yeah. The one static thing we talked about is the bonfire that disappears. Yes. Like I feel like that ups the difficulty some. I don't know how many more moments there are like that.
Yeah. It would succeed on kind of the same level. Like the great thing about that bonfire disappearing is Firelink is no longer your safe haven, your shrine, and it's almost a survival horror like element where you just lose all sense of security. Like what else that you take for granted can be taken away from you, right? So maybe if there was more of that, this would become more of a survival horror game almost. Be Still My Heart, but
yeah, I wouldn't want enemies appearing. And new enemies appearing in old areas.
Yeah,
because so much of the game is about going back to old areas and mastering them.
Yeah,
so it would maybe add to the replayability, but the game is big enough. Not playability; it'd be like a padding out the length kind of thing. I feel like, being able to breeze through those areas like it's nothing is part of the fun. I think.
It would really have to be played into the lore too. Like you couldn't just swap out the Hollow Warriors for Baldur Knights or something in the Burg. Right. It would be kind of like, after you complete the quest line with Petrus, then all of a sudden the parish is overrun with like Seath's agents or something like that.
Right.
Or after you just like any of those kind of things. So it turned into a Mega Man X kind of scenario, right?
Well, what it would do is it would change the storyline from being one that's like indirect to one that happens in front of you.
Yeah,
because there's very few storyline elements that you actually see. Like earlier in the last episode or the main episode, I was talking about how it's like a world that's transitioning, but you're kind of coming across it in a static spot.
Yeah.
So you move some things forward, but you just see all the action that came before, and the actual agency you have to move the story forward is relatively limited. Like you're not doing huge world changing things,
right?
For the most part, like you ring that bell and the parish stays the parish.
Yeah.
So
it'd be a cool game, but a different game.
Yeah. There's totally still a way you could do it.
Yeah.
I just think it would be choosing one or the other.
Yep.
So,
if you made this game different, it'll be a different game.
Thank you for pointing that out.
No problem.
Dumb thing we just said. You're right.
No, it all makes sense. I'm just yanking your chain.
That podcast. It was a low-hanging chain. So Zachary says, the bonfire across from the bell tower was littered with mixed messages right before entering the building. At this point, you have no idea what a blacksmith is. So it's very easy to be overcautious. The mini-boss was surprising.
If it was trying to get me to leave, it was just a lot of mixed messages.
The mini-boss was surprisingly easy because I'd already figured out backstabbing. But if you haven't seen the Firekeeper for Firelink, the prize for beating him seems pretty strange. Chopping off the gargoyles' tails was super satisfying, but I'm sure other people have better stories on them. Not really. I think we just kind of talked over, that happens accidentally a lot of the time. Learning that the Titanite demon right outside of Andre's room was something that I had to run past instead of kill right now was confusing for me. Also, as for the Lower Burg, I happened to be human in time for the boss fight, so Capra Demon was accidentally trivialized for me. And for some reason, the tower that led to the Aqueduct shortcut was super intimidating to me. So I got partway through the sewers before getting to that.
Huh.
So I guess he summoned help for Capra?
Yeah, which you can do.
Yeah.
I don't know if that has like an impact if you just die instantly from the dogs and whatnot. But having somebody there to help you deal with that, because it is a 2-stage kind of thing, would help.
Yeah, I've done some sunburrowing on Capra, and I usually just go up and engage Capra and let him lock onto me and block his shots and let whoever's playing do whatever they need to do.
Right.
I don't think we talked much about chopping off the gargoyle tail. But that was something that I didn't realize I could do in that fight, but did later on in the game when I encountered another gargoyle.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, wow, that's cool. Would have been nice if I did that sooner. And also, I understand what you mean about being intimidated by the tower leading to the aqueduct shortcut. Actually, the only reason why I found that shortcut is because when you are in the area that has the couple of weird ramps and stuff and the door that goes into the depths, I kept hearing a archer somewhere. Like I knew there was an archer somewhere, and I kept like getting the sound cue of an arrow clinking off a wall somewhere. I was like, what in the world is that? And so I actually ran all the way up that tower without seeing the archer somehow and got into the aqueduct, but I just kept like having this sneaking suspicion that there was an enemy somewhere around me.
What is that archer doing there from a gameplay perspective? Like, is anybody challenged by that? Is that ever, like, even by that point in the game, is that even remotely difficult? Have any of you guys even been hit by him?
No.
Yeah.
Just kind of hanging out.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, well, you just standing on a platform shooting arrows.
Like he was useless, so the Hollow Generals just kind of put him in a low traffic area so he wouldn't, hurt them too much.
He's playing right field?
Yeah.
Or is it left field? I don't actually know enough about baseball. I just know that there's one position that, right field.
Yeah, right field's kind of junk.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was usually first string left out for baseball.
Yeah, I was in right field, so that's why I know it's junk. Yeah. That shortcut ends up being pretty useful because as far as areas go, the depths is probably one of the more far out there in terms of accessing it.
Oh, it's totally far out, dude.
Yeah. Far out there? What do you mean it's far out there in terms of accessing it?
Like the only so you could get there from the Burg, fire. When you unlocked that door from the other side, that's relatively okay, but it puts you on the other side of the Burg, so you have to go through the thieves. If you use that shortcut, all you have to do is go up to the aqueduct and then fight that one useless right field archer, and then you're like right by the Burg.
Yeah. So and if you don't have, we'll talk about this in the depths, but if you don't have the master key too, it's a long time before you get to the bonfire in the depths.
Right.
So you're kind of fucked in that way too. So
yeah. So our final comment comes from Anthony via Facebook, who says, my Lower Burg story is that when I met the Capra Demon for the first time, I was so intimidated that I spent the next 12 hours of the game exploring Darkroot instead, which, as we discussed in the main episode, is...
I hear you, Anthony.
It's the usual way the universe works.
Yep.
It's also the wrong way.
No, there's no wrong ways.
No.
Not in Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Real quick, I don't know because I didn't talk about it during the episode. I just wanted a place to mention this, and I don't know if either of you guys are interested in this. You said what your Games for Windows Live name was, Cole, so you can get summoned. I've been doing some of my sunburrowing and had a character I did a bunch near the parish, and so my Games for Windows Live name is Bretzel Krumlow. I probably won't respond to friend requests on there because I'm only on there to play Dark Souls. I don't do social media in that way, really. But if you see me, summon me, because I've got Unemployed Solaire, who is fat, pantsless Solaire, who follows you into the Gargoyles boss fight, and then stands at the edge and cheers. And that's it. And it's awesome. And it's I guess I shouldn't have spoiled it on the podcast in case anybody gets that, but I have had a lot of fun just not helping anybody and just emoting on the side like, I'm too tired to fight. Good job, until they die. And then,
so if you're playing the game and want somebody to not help,
I think it probably is encouraging. Like if you imagine like a chubby, jolly Solaire at the side of the roof, just kind of doing the hurrah motion over and over, I think that you'd probably feel. And then after you win, like it's so shitty that only one person has won after I did this, and I did. They came, ran towards me, and I did the shrug, and I was real happy with how that whole thing played out. Hey, I'm sleepy. I don't want to do this. Solaire's had some beers.
So Larry's fallen on some hard times, but they can't break his spirit.
Yeah, he's still looking for the sun. He'll just look for it tomorrow.
He gets knocked down, but he gets up again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
that's the song by From Mwumba. Duh.
Yeah, my Xbox Live username I play on Xbox, that's Song for the Deaf, which is the same name I use for everything. So have fun.
You feel like
that.
getting summoned, Tyler?
P. Dunkadelic.
Oh yeah, you're
Hyphen Dunkadelic.
Yep.
Awesome. Yep.
Cool.
So if you see our signs, that's us.
You'd have to be blind to miss them. So I think that's it for the errata and contribution portion. Now we'll probably have some deleted scenes after this, I guess. I'm guessing.
They're so zany and wacky.
Yeah,
Podcast.
Yeah.
It's all just scenes where one of us makes a comment and they're holding a sandwich, and then when we make the comment again, we're not holding the sandwich. So see if you can figure out which ones.
You have to have the video feed to really play that. So
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. So, if you enjoyed that and you would like to participate, all the usual channels we talked about in the regular episode, Facebook, the contact, comments on the blog post, any of those kind of things, just shout it into the universe, and we will likely hear it.
Yep, and comments on the depths, please. I want to hear about, the same way I was like, I want to hear 1,000 stories about Havel. I didn't get that, but I do want to hear 1,000 stories about basilisks. So please watch out for basilisks and tell us everything you can about those googly-eyed motherfuckers so we can read it out loud in the next appendix episode.
Yeah. As we said at the beginning, this episode is brought to you by Audible.com. For you, our dear listeners, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/bonfiresidechat. Again, that's audibletrial.com/bonfiresidechat for your free audiobook.
I was pretty proud of the status I came up with for Skype while I was waiting for you guys. Bark Souls Prepare to Lie Down edition.
Bark Souls Shut Up and Die. Yeah. God, wait, what? No,
Nope.
Bit of a stretch. No, it's fine.
No, it's fine. You were workshopping it.
Yeah.
This is a safe place.
With you.
There are no bad ideas in brainstorming, except that one.
You'll revive.
No, you know.
I just tried to, run and be like, oh, there's got to be some kind of instant win for all of these bosses.
Right.
And it never really happened again.
That's not true. There are some instant wins, and they're real cool. Marker, I guess, so you can edit. Even though I didn't leave you a marker, I just jumped right in. Take that, Kole. But you can do that with the Iron Golem on top of Sen's Fortress.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you attack his leg, he'll lose his balance and can fall off. And then there's an instant win for somebody you haven't fought yet. So I won't mention that. But there are 2 other bosses that have instant wins.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll just keep goofusing these bosses then. See if I can figure out which one it is.
Be more goofus and less like Gallant.
It's weird because you can't tell what's a crutch and what is a legitimate example of I'll take what I can get.
Yeah.
It's not a crutch if you discover it yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So if you just happen upon it, that's awesome and good on you. The later boss, the one that Tyler hasn't been to yet, so Kole knows what I'm talking about. That I did, I didn't fact that. I beat him the non-standard way, and it just happened naturally. Mm-hmm. And I was that's incredible.
Yeah.
It was super, super awesome. But if you're just kind of you look up how to beat him, and the fact tells you, oh, here's a way that you can do it really cheaply, and then you do it, then it's kind of a crutch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the way I do
had
it is
no
also,
idea if anyone else did it though, or if I just was like, Dark Souls, still with me?
All right then. I get lost in this etymology stuff. Oh well.
We're back. A dinosaur story. Oh, and I'm sorry if you hear a little bit of noise earlier. My drag queen roommate came in for a minute to grab some costume stuff while we're recording.
I didn't hear anything.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
cool. Stealth drag.
It's pretty.
It's
quick.
very true.
He got in and out pretty quick. You could say he's a drag racer.
Ooh.
Pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, not too bad.
We'll allow it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of wigs, a lot of heels in my room. Huh. It's a fun experience.
Do you want to do the errata in the episode proper or in the appendix?
Well, we did the erotica. I think it's
time. Sorry, let me reconnoiter myself here because I knocked my pop filter out of the way. All right.
Your what?
My pop filter.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought
you call it a
like,
soda filter where you're from.
Yeah.
I thought you said like poplifer or something. I was picturing like a popcorn popper. Oh man, recording in style over there. Surprised I didn't hear any of the munching.
You don't have a source of fresh corn? Just big pile of fresh fluffy corn while you record?
I'm still getting the hang of this whole podcasting thing.
I've got a
popcasting.
I've got a faucet right next to my computer that has hot and cold running popcorn.
It has hot and cold running butter solution. They just pour.
The cold doesn't run too well. It's pretty viscous.
Yeah. Ugh.
it is just, kind of.
I imagine the slime from Ghostbusters 2
yeah.
that comes out of the bathroom sink.
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
Also, just like the last time I was on a Duckfeed show, I have been nodding vigorously at different points throughout this, only to stop myself realizing that you cannot see me.
Nope.
And neither can anyone hear me. There's so much affirmation going on here in Pittsburgh.
Tyler Crumrine sits alone in a room and nods.
Yeah.
Like the Tyler Crumrine story. It's a frustrating area, but it's not something that you would have run into, in Dark Souls. And same thing with the mines, like the Stone Fang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm back. By the way, I just didn't know if you guys were doing real talk or not. I just got back a little bit ago.
We're talking about our feelings.
Yes.
Oh, cool. All right. Sorry to interrupt, guys.
just be silent until we tell you to talk again. That's cool.
Okay.
Don't
cool.
worry.
Cool.
We're not offended.
Do like a one-off episode on 3D Game.Heroes or other, FromSoft, misadventures.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that they did that game too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, it was one of those ones. It was developed by From, and then Ethan Frome, yes, and then it was published by Atlas.
Yep.
Yep.
Ethan Frome, the movie Operation Death Sled. There is a movie. I watched it in high school after we read the book of Ethan Frome, and like there are those blurbs on the back, like reviews from different publications and stuff. Mm. And there is a glowing review from Playboy magazine. Like doesn't talk about it as an erotic story, barely even talks about it as a love story. But it's just kind of like, this is a movie that, was beautiful and has movie stuff in it and blah, 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 blah. And it's just like Playboy magazine. And it blew my mind.
That is that is something that the teenage mind is like specifically honed to just latch onto.
Yeah.
To see the words.
Yeah.
That, and I read, what play was it? I think it was Sing, Playboy of the Western World. I was like, this is nothing about like this is just a bunch of sad Irish people.
This is nothing about centerfolds and how how to pick the best pipe tobacco.
What if it was a story about like not an anthropomorphic, but like a specific issue of Playboy, and it was kind of like a warhorse scenario where like it showed its trials and tribulations throughout the Western world, like a Forrest Gump before a magazine.
I read the articles.
The magazine is a consistent prop, and it's passed from father to son, and then it goes on this fantastic voyage as it is passed from hand to hand, and you see how it touches everybody's individual life until it comes back to him on his deathbed, and he recalls the good times he had with his father before ultimately.
And you see how a turning of the page in one hemisphere causes an earthquake in another. It's very Butterfly.
It's kind of like Crash.
Yeah. At the end, after the father dies, at the end, there's just big bold white letters that says "Racism bad," and then credits.
Guys, you're still not all about racism, are you? Stop
Are
it!
you not convinced? 40 million people are killed by racism every day.
And Cole, you're in Cincinnati. Gary, you are
I'm West Coastin.
West Coast. Are you
in Portland?
Portland? That's what I thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. It's 5:30 for me.
Oh, wow.
It is 8:30 here.
What happens in the future?
I can give you lotto numbers.
Yeah.
I also have a sports almanac you might find quite intriguing.
Yeah, we'll have
Ooh la la.
our
Ooh la
hats
la.
and ride around hoverboards.
Yeah.
So it's great.
It's crazy. My uncle worked on the set of Back to the Future too, but they had to stop the hoverboard.
No big deal.
No big deal, They had to take all the hoverboards away, after one of the kids died on it. But I got to ride it. It's no big deal. My other uncle works at Nintendo.
Real talk. I watched the beginning of Back to the Future 3 for the first time on Sunday. That movie is such a ridiculous tonal shift.
Oh, God, yeah.
From the other ones, because the second one is like crazy dark, and then the third one all of a sudden is just bang, it's so fucking goofy. Like, I was really surprised by how silly that movie is.
Yeah.
Like, dance. That's like one of the first scenes. What? People don't do that. That's not a thing.
It's like if the past was actually made up of Western stereotypes.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, this first one, we're gonna kind of ease into it. Sexual tension with his mom. All right. Second one, confront your own demons. Kind of learn to hate yourself. All right, cool. Third one, we have fun around here. Let's do a Western.
It's like they're Ewoks. It's like a Star Wars thing. Like if you shoot at someone's feet to try to make them dance, you're just going to shoot them in the foot, and then they can't dance. It's counter to what you want. Don't do it, Biff. Mad Dog Tannen. Even though I do think that's his best performance out of the three.
Oh, yeah.
If I ever get in a shootout, I'm going to be so set with that boilerplate under my shirt.
Oh, yeah. I watched, because it was part of a marathon, so I watched the second one again, too. And the joy that old future, Emperor Biff has at that boilerplate, where he's like, bulletproof vest. He thinks it's so hilarious. Just like the way that nobody ever would. It is ridiculous. Worst performance, old future Biff. Best performance, Mad Dog Tannen.
One of my favorite YouTube videos is somebody taking the end of Back to the Future 1 and Back to the Future 2 and syncing them up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
with all the synchronicity of like how they planned that for that big finale.
Yeah, that's astonishing.
I'll have to look it up.
Yep.
It's neat.
Yeah.
I'm one of these weirdos who, like with those 80s movies, likes the second sequel or the first sequel, almost uniformly better than the originals. And Back to the Future 2 stands up as a ridiculous achievement in speculative fiction.
Yeah.
Have you watched that Cracked video about how the Back to the Future universe is secretly terrifying?
Mm-mm.
It goes into some really weird stuff about like just what kind of parents would, like the father, if he saw this person who wound up looking exactly like his son, preventing his future wife from being raped, if he might have some suspicion when she names their kid after him. Why in the world they keep Biff around if he tried to rape his wife in the first place as this neutered like manservant. All of the racial appropriation and that like, oh, the black man, he's told that he could be the mayor of the town someday, so it's only the white man who inspires him to achieve that goal. Yeah. Or that Chuck Steele or whoever actually, stole it from a white man who stole it from him. So racism loops. It's all crazy.
Is it the series where it's the people like sitting around in a diner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zemeckis. Man, I need to go back and watch those. It's been a long time. I watch these movies in cycles. It's
a dead genre, right? Like so, like the comedy sci-fi mashup kind of thing, like of that tone. So like the Groundhog Day, Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, Gremlins kind of thing.
Would you call Groundhog Day a sci-fi?
No, I guess not. It's more like what would happen if French philosophers were sitting around.
Like Groundhog Day it's a movie from the 1930s that was made in the 80s. I don't know. I don't know, like the 30s. Like what? I don't know if I'm with you on that one. I just like that weird introspective philosophical kind of thing that only happened after the Hays Code came in, and they're like, oh man, what the hell can we do? You know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I suppose. I think of it as more of like a precursor to like a Charlie Kaufman kind of thing.
I love it. Like Groundhog Day is like one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, I also love it.
Yeah.
The Die Hard movies have stayed pretty close to the whole, like, we're going to have a lot of action, but we're also going to have this kind of self-aware hero who throws a lot of quips around. Yeah. They've done an all right job with that, which those are the greatest. They are the greatest Christmas movies, by the way.
Oh,
the vast majority of them happen on Christmas.
Agreed. Scrooged, but
Scrooge or Gremlins. I like Gremlins better than like Scrooged. I like Scrooge though too.
Yeah, I'm an undying Bill Murray fan. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Man, my pet project. I really want to do a podcast where I go back through the entire catalog of Bill Murray films and release them on Tuesdays and have it be Tuesdays with Murray. Like, when I have enough free time, that's going to be my side project.
That's a good idea.
That is a really good idea.
You let me know when you get to Operation Dumbo Drop.
Yeah. Oh, man, I completely forgot about that movie.
I forgot he was in that. Oh, didn't it have Ray Liotta in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's really odd.
Oh man,
totes Leots.
That movie totally existed.
It had Ray Liotta and Dennis Leary in it. Fuck.
Yeah, what is Dennis Leary doing there? God, he's all sad at the end of Saturday Night Live. No one's hugging him, and then some exec just walks up. He's just like, "Hey, Dennis, I know where you can get lots of love.
Have I got the role for you?
I got the role for you." And he's just like, "Well, nobody likes me here. I've been sleeping in my car for 2 weeks.
You've got all the mileage that you can off of stealing Bill Hicks's material, and Rescue Me is a decade off. What of it?"
Yep.
Huh. He was also the dad in something. Was he the dad in Sandlot?
Oh, man,
he might.
I saw the Sandlot so long ago that I can't remember it. I didn't know
that is a wonderful movie that has one of those laughably awful straight
little fat kid goalies. Yeah, it does.
I love the fat sports kid. That is one of my favorite movie tropes. It gave me so much hope as a child. I can knuckle puck.
Maybe it's because his hair and his little freckles might be what the combination. But I think that kid looks fucking obnoxious.
We've declared a fatwa against that guy, right?
He might grow up to win like a water ski race with a well-timed fart in like a later like movie, and that's the career trajectory he's on. Yeah. But until then, he has no love for me.
Yeah. He made the circuit though. Like, wasn't he in Little Giants too? Ah, fuck. My stepdad for as long as I have been cognizant of anything, he's been a movie bootlegger.
Nice.
And
great hobby.
It's a great hobby. Just like just every Thursday going to the movie rental store in the front of the Kmart and him renting movies and then coming back and watching him copy them and adding them to his hoard. But like all of these movies are like there are associations because they were on the same tape. Because if you put them in LP mode, then you can fit 2 movies on the same blank tape, right? So for us, he did Sandlot on one side and Little Giants on the others. Rick Moranis, current country music star.
Features.
Yeah, the double features exactly.
Yeah, it's a drive-in in your own home.
Yeah,
Just set up a blanket for. That's an evening of fun.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and The Sting. Yes.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Because why not?
Explains a lot.
it was all one big grift. Splinter, you wily bastard, you.
My ex-wife, her dad used to movie bootleg, and we were hanging out in their office where they had all of them. He had all these binders where he had cataloged like which movies were on each tape.
Yeah.
And on each binder, he had written this little like blurb that he had clearly written himself for the movies, and for the benefit of who knows, right? So there's no audience for this, but they're hilarious. Like they were like, it was like Terminator, and it's like Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger is back, or it's like Terminator, I'll be back, and he is back. Arnold Schwarzenegger, that is, in the sci-fi thriller from the 80s. Like he just like written these little like blurby 1-sentence things for nobody. And just like the dorkiest, daddiest like thing I've ever seen done by any human.
That is
Oh
the best.
my god!
Were they all like super like, hey Sonny, looking for a whatchamacallit, or was something just like this is horse shit? But
No, they were all selling it. So like,
Okay.
they were all just like, Gremlins, mischief and mayhem run amok in the small town favorite from the world of Joe Dante. Like they were all just these weird little like ad copy things, but they were like clearly like that one could actually be from something. And then there were like typos and misspellings and misusings of words. Like there was enough evidence that he had clearly sat and thought these up at some point.
Oh, that's so glorious.
It was real funny.
Oh my god!
I'm on good terms with her. I should see if I can get her to like scan me a couple pages of them.
Oh please!
Yeah.
We'll put that on the blog.
Yeah.
I just
Here, can I make your dad into an internet idiot?
into an internet celebrity, Gary. Celebrity.
Okay,
Yeah.
like a Honey Boo Boo celebrity.
I would follow that guy's recommendations. That would be wonderful.
my
Fan Mayhem.
My career as a pet ant began when my stepdad copied Mortal Kombat, but he spelled combat with a C. So I went out with a Sharpie and put a vertical line in front of the C to make it into a K.
That's important with Mortal Kombat, though.
It is.
It's part of their entire.
It's their brand.
Entire
It's
brand.
It's part of the mythos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey guys, this is Kole. This last segment that we're about to do got a bit destroyed because Skype decided to stop duplexing us. So whenever one of us talked, the other one ended up not coming through, which is kind of sad because it's real funny. So I've salvaged what I can. I apologize for any audio issues that are present there, but I assure you what I cut out was actually a lot worse than that. So this is approaching the end of the episode, and if it annoys you, I do not blame you for tuning away, but here we go. So that is the end of the scheduled programming, but Tyler, you have brought something special for us, right?
In Dark Souls tradition, I thought that I'd share something that seems kind of fun and winds up being really painful. As I mentioned in the show, my first exposure to Dark Souls was actually fan art. Before I knew exactly what the game was, before I had any interest in playing the game. And so in researching for the show, I was looking up some of the fan art that I had seen before of like Sunny D Sunbro and stuff like that. And I was like, wonder if there's any fan fiction for this. And there is. And there is a doozy of one that I'm going to go ahead and read the first chapter of, because you've stuck around this far. Why not? So I'm going to go ahead and read this, and then we'll have a bit of a book club with Gary, Kole, and I. And they are, in fact, hearing this for the first time. It gets a little crazy.
Yeah,
So,
I will try to keep my penis in my pants. But when it comes to fan fiction,
I've already lost that game.
In both respects.
yes, we're playing Pod Soggy Cracker.
Jesus.
Like across the
Potty Cracker, yeah.
Yeah, Potty Cracker. All right.
So this is by, let's see if we have an author stamp on this. Sir Him 11, or maybe it's like Sir Him.
Sirhan.
Out of
For my next trick. For my next great tragedy, Al.
And this is the chapter 1, Kindle the Bonfire. Maybe I think that's the name of the entire fiction. It is multiple chapters.
That's how you tell you have a good book.
Chapter 1. There was a loud crashing sound and I stopped. Moving to it, I glanced up to the trees. Oh, I said, seeing a large, hairy, tusked monster before me. Wow. It swung its giant club, so I blocked it with my shield. I was flung back and my arm made a snapping sound, but other than that, I was fine. After righting myself, I jumped forward and brought my sword, named Zweihander, down on the beast's leg. I felt the blade penetrate as the monster's leg tightened to a knot. I tried to move away, but my shield was slowing me down, and my broken arm twisted in an awkward angle, and more pain shot through me. With a mighty roar, the beast clubbed at me with its arm, knocking me over. I pushed myself to my feet seconds faster than the beast had time to regain his posture, and swung Zweihander, which landed a blow on its forehead. The blade rebounded off and sent me staggering back. The blow dazed the monster, and it shook itself to clear its head, giving me enough time to catch my breath. The gargoyles would be in the air and out of reach by now after having heard all this roaring. I was so injured, and no doubt more of the hairy tusk things would come to investigate. I had to finish this swiftly or die. Again. The beast round with the club, taking my legs out from under me. The pain was terrible. I saw black spots in my vision and knew I was dying. I quickly pulled out and drained some of my Estus flask, which healed my worst wounds. The beast tried to stomp on me, but instead nailed its own foot on the Zweihander. I like how it was like, yeah, no, that's how the game works. Good on you. All right, accurate so far.
This is like the Dragonlance Chronicles. This is just a couple of people like playing a D&D campaign and writing fiction around it.
Dark Souls, the audiobook. Welcome. Welcome, listener. It's about to get weird.
I apologize for interrupting.
It fell with a boom and struggled to get back up. I stood on numb legs and with both hands brought the might of the sword down into the demon's back. The sword penetrated, slicing through the thick hide. Another ear-splitting roar deafened me and I was grabbed, then lifted up and thrown into a tree. I collided into it with a crack and felt my ribs break. I hit the forest floor on my back with a thump and tried to regain my breath, which didn't come because nothing was supporting my insides. Now I was dying. At least I could breathe without legs. With the last energy, I drew my Estus flask and drank. My stomach tried to gag the fluid out of me, but it had already performed its work. I rolled over and lifted my tired and beat-up body into a ready position. I looked for Zweihander. It was still stuck in the demon. I stumbled over to it and dodged its hands as I pulled out my sword. I then turned to the beast's head and began pounding it. The beast. White particles bled from the corpse and sluiced onto me. I could feel what remained of the monster's soul as it left this world. It had been terrifying and powerful, but now it was simply dead. I checked the forest canopy in the surrounding area. Nothing visible, but the crashing of feet coming towards me signaled the need for action. I could hear more than one set, so finding my bearings and getting back to Anne Orlando would have to wait. I hefted Zweihander and began walking out of the area. The only reason I came here was to get rid of the gargoyles that harass Anne Orlando. They generally take sport in attacking anyone foolish enough to venture too close to the forest. Within the past few days, the flying monsters had raided settlements inside the city, which required action. It looked like, no, that was just underlined. I thought it was a link to like a... It's still
what action is. It required action.
Cutaway.
Wikipedia defines action as.
It had once been a thriving ancient metropolis and had only recently been cleared of the insane and demonic, so keeping it that way was vital. I gave a sigh and kept trudging forward. It seemed as if any trace of my prey ran cold and all evidence of any disturbance had disappeared. I believed my escape to be secured after the booming strides died away. A soft, creaking sound, and whap! I let out a strangled yelp as something latched around my neck and cut off circulation. It threw me to my back, my own armor pulling me down. I attempted to cut the bonds around me, but my armor was too bulky to bend in the necessary direction. I've been there. The vines that ensnared my neck dragged me, if slowly, to a dark pit full of rustling plants. No, I refuse to be plant food. I will not... Again! No, it's inner monologue. With that, an orange glow pulsed around the hand holding my sword. Lifting it, a ball of fire flew into the pit where it exploded. The vines writhed in pain and let me go. I lifted myself back up and ran out of here. Oh, it's getting close. Ugh, I said as I gulped for air. I slowly pulled out my Estus flask, wincing at the moment, which stretched my lacerated neck. Taking the cork off the bottle, I drank the liquid inside. When it touched my lips, the yellow fluid burned with an orange-red fire and scorched. Mended my numerous cuts and gashes within a few minutes. Right, can't go back there, I said between coughs. He's making this whole, every time he drinks this Estus flask, really painful.
Yeah. It's a real love letter to Estus flasks.
The bruises would have to heal on their own, but after braving rotting villages and swamps, burning chaos and destruction, and magical atrocities that left more than physical wounds, I didn't mind. I stowed my flask and stepped through a thick layer of brush, this time a little more wary of my surroundings. I slowly but surely walked forward, trying to find a change in the scenery, and spotted an opening in the dense foliage. I stepped through the wall of trees and vines, and ahead of me to see more than I anticipated. All right, that was weird. The end of the forest bled out into a great plain, full of grass, trees, and mountains. Finally, time to find a bonfire, I told myself. Near me, I saw a road sign, looking over a highway intersection. I trudged up to the sign. It read, North to Philadelphia, South to Stalliongrad.
Can you repeat that?
North to Philadelphia, South to Stalliongrad, East to Ponyville.
We're getting weird static here. Can you repeat it once more?
North to Philadelphia, South to Stalliongrad, East to Ponyville.
The last one is I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not joking. Yeah, I'm just hearing blah. Crap.
Hold on.
Our connection's dying.
Yeah.
The last one is the most important one. North to Philadelphia, South to Stalliongrad, East to Ponyville.
Oh no!
Oh, no! Why? Why?
My head were built for a shorter person. I told myself, who would name an established community after an equine race? I picked my destination to be Ponyville. Well, what do you want us to call you? I stood up and bowed slightly. I am Sir Lawrence of Anne Orlando. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. What a silly name, the pink mare giggled. Pinky, said the violet unicorn as she faced hoofed. I turned to the pink mare. Your name is Pinky? She giggled. No, silly Willy. I'm Pink Pie. I hope there aren't any more. But just Pinky would be out of the question. Pinkie Pie gestured towards the rainbow pony, and this is Rainbow Dash. Pinkie Pie pointed to the violet sorcerer, along with Twilight Sparkle, then to another unicorn, Rarity, then moved to the blonde mare, Applejack, and then to the wide-eyed, quaking Pegasus, and Fluttershy. That's us. Outside the hole of the building, I could see more ponies coming out of their house of curiosity. When they saw me, they gasped comically and rushed inside. I came to the assumption that this land wasn't hit as hard as Lordran than with the undead. It was always good to find sentient living creatures. You all right, Sugar Cube? Asked Applejack. My posture was giving me away, and I quickly straightened myself. At least they were swift to make friends, even if the friend they refer to looks as bad as any demon. I'm fine. No need to worry, I told the 6 innocent, fragile creatures. Where can I find a bonfire? And that is chapter 1 of 13.
Oh, good night.
Yeah.
Real good night.
Yeah. That pony thing came out of nowhere.
Oh my gosh.
Also, like, Cole, I'm using my special mic stand called Mic Stand. Like, he does not realize that Zweihander is not a proper name. It's just German for two-hander, you dum-dum.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Oh, I just he gets really into describing that first battle.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is all right. And it's like, oh, why are there ponies?
It really, it changes gears.
Two fan fiction staples here: the overly elaborate battle scene, and also the ham-handed introduction of everybody and the entire thing that they're stealing.
Yeah, and last time we did we talked about fan fiction. Like, get anyone to read this, and they'll make it better writing. But of course, no one's going to read it except for us. But you don't need to see spots in your vision. Like, you don't need to have a yellow liquid burn with orangish reddish fire. Come on, edit. We need to get Raymond Carver's editor on this and just chop it to fucking bits. This should be like a short story where it's pink guy came home, had a drink, his wife was yelling, the baby was crying, he went out to his car. It needs to be direct into the bone. There.
Cormac McCarthy's Rainbow Dash. All the pretty horses. I'm sorry, ponies. I hope somebody appreciated that.
And we all pray that we will have far more soon